Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the breakfast show. Again, I apologize for the delay, but today we are experiencing some technical hiccups in our delivery of our SMARTRobie show in here. So we have to do best with what we can, and definitely when you get to the connection of my SMARTRobie to my live Facebook seems to be an issue. So we just have to do without it and try to see how we can still do our breakfast show together with our usual news update to you. And of course, let's take a look at what we have for you for this morning in our SMARTRobie in here. All right, let's take a look in here, and there we go. So you will notice in front my usual SMARTRobie connection to my phone. It's not available, so we just have to do without it, and you can definitely turn on together with me and just use your phone, as I said before. Now this morning that we have, the market is holding up in here. If you could see from the SMARTRobie chart on tradevsa.com, we have the KLCI is still in blue trend zone. All right, still in blue trend zone. So that tells you the trend is still moving higher, and that seems to be very, very good. And in the coming days that we have in here, but also you can also see right at the below at the tradevsa.com, we have the foreign outflow, right? We have the last 2 days, the 2 days of the foreign fund outflow. So that probably tell you this market is not likely to move further than what it should. So more likely to be tending downside in here. Of course, there are not much of catalyst coming in here, but let's look at what we have for you in our headlines. Now this morning we'll be looking at Pentagon flows. As I said before, the usual Pentagon guider flow will be on Monday as we are addressing the beginner section in here. Also, we'll be looking at some of the portfolio that we have set up so far in here. So for our news roundup this morning. Now, this morning, definitely the talk of the town will be the higher crude oil prices. Now, we all know the higher crude oil prices will be a real challenge to many of the players as well as the so-called manufacturers as they continue to struggle with the higher inflation. We all know this coming Chinese New Year, we probably have to pay more for our chickens and probably have to put up more for the other grocery too in here. But the economists and this Mr. Shan here are forecasting for higher oil prices, and that's why we always talk about right this year the energy sector. It's something that you want to be focusing on. A lot of the energy sector, you can go over to SMARTRobie on your chart like what I'm doing in here, going to the KLCI, going to Robie chart and looking at the hot sector. That's right, on the hot sector you would see energy is the prevailing number one in the sector in here. So that's the one you'll be talking about, and so no surprises if you're looking at it. So Sean is projecting the oil prices to hover about the 77 to 107 US dollar, and even will even speculate that the repeat of the 2008 oil prices that rose to 147 that year in 2008. But I think it is very unlikely that it should rose to that. We do not have the kind of crisis that we've seen previously, the big fall in here. All being said, this is an inflation that can be tamed if the right stimulus has been in, as now we are seeing the interest rate has already been projected to rise on the third quarter, on the end of the first quarter, which is the March 2022 in here. So all being said, let's look at our second news headline. Now, our second news headline is on Vitrox. That's right, Vitrox is continued to expand, and they're very positive in here. The CEO, Chu Jin-wing, says that the expansion about 447 square feet of production businesses, and because they are feeling very, very positive in here. Of course, taking a look at what I can show you on the charts for, let's bring out the charts here. You can see here, looking at the Vitrox. So Vitrox, it's looking at a right base, still around 1960 in here. Any odds up at $20 hasn't been turning. So you might just want to wait for green Pentagon, or if you are well trained to read your chart, this is a pretty good support to be looking at this in here. It's not cheap. Having said that, you can look at SMARTRobie, typing in Vitrox. Right, considering this, And let's look at the stock fundamentals, right? And Vitrox is rated only a 59 PE, okay, of a 22 ROE, not too bad. With 0.28% dividend. So all in said, it is an expensive stock. It is a growth stock at 19 ringgit and 60 cents. Perhaps one day it will do what all the other cousins are doing, which is stock split like Genin Tech in here. Yet to be seen, but this is probably a good base to be buying if you are into the technology segment in here. But there are other better sets up in here. I think you can definitely look for that. So let's take a look at our next story that we have for you. Okay, is SMTrack. Now we all know SMTrack has made leaps and bounds in the coming weeks, and the news talks about on the 29th of December. That's right, 29th of December, where we've seen the first green pentagon, and also there is a new player in SMTrack, and no other than the Tan Sri Lee Kim Yu, which is Lee Kim Yu. That's right, from the Golden Horse Palace of the Golden Horses in here. So, and owner and founder of Mines Resort and Country Heights. So they are going into SMTrack. Of course, SMTrack, from our previous Bursa Malaysia website showing that SMTrack were a losing company for the 12 months period. SMTrack posted a net loss of 815,000 with a revenue of 1.79 million with a cash holding at 2 million, again zero borrowing. So net asset is at 56 million with liability of 10 million in here. So let's take a look at SMTrack, and you can see SMTrack, the chart. Okay, SMTrack has gone up very considerably. Of course, the green pentagon when it first came off from here and drawing up that, I think there'll be around close to 195%. Okay, let me just bring this up here. Right, and to yesterday it was about 195%. You can see in here. Is this a stock to buy right now? Definitely a no because at these stages there likely to be a lot of distribution in here. Perhaps you might want to trade on a shorter time frame, right? Keep your risk low and take quick profits in here on maybe an hourly or 15-minute chart. You need to be very careful, and you might want to just trade like what I'm here, switching to a 1-hour chart or switching to a 30-minute chart. That will give you some sort of edge. You want to, like you can see here, big sell-off in here, and then the market turn back up. There will be a lot of punctuation of uptrend with this, but generally for the not that experienced trader in here, you might want to stay out from SMTrack in here. That's going to be a lot of news. If you go into internet, there'll be some people saying that this is a stock you want to be buying, some will be saying that, but I think it's all best try to avoid this kind of thing, so you might not get into the smart money. Remember, smart money at this stage may likely to be distributing. Okay, let's get on to our next story here. Now, next story is on Southern Cable. Now, Southern Cable are seeing demand recovery in here as the CEO, is looking, Managing Director Tung Eng Hai is looking at a possible recovery in the economic, and as well as looking to increase its sales. Now, the previous lockdown that they have, which causes a double whammy due to lower sales and increase in raw material. We all know, right, this inflation, since the economic are reopening in here, we've seen prices are going up. Steel prices are going from lumber material in here, and that is also playing into the net profit of Southern Cable. So commodity prices has gone up a fair bit in here. So we have seen all prices, which we talked about earlier in here, and they have to deal with declining profits, which have declined by something of 16% to 127 million, and the third quarter fall something by 81% year on year to 1.3 million. Now let's take a look at the Southern Cable. Southern Cable, is it? Yeah, Southern Cable SCGM. SCGPHD. Yeah, Southern Cable in here, and just turn green pentagon in here. This is a very nice space to be looking at. If you can break up to the 42 cents, that's somewhere you want to look at it in here. A possible trade, but let the trade move ahead and look for a pullback. I think that's always the best. You can see lots of strength in the background in here around the 40 cents mark in here. Okay, and the last time when you start to pick up, you can see in here prices goes straight right up here. You can see from here all the way to the last high was about 23%. So the kind of target price very similar. You don't want to ride this kind of all the way up, unlike the usual technology that we see in the continuation trend for this one in here. So you have to be careful for this kind of stocks if you are going to be trading the Southern Cable. Now let's take a look on our next area. Now next area will be on the US market. Now we all know US market continued to correct ever since the interest rate hike likely to be projected on the March 2022. Yet to be firm, but the meeting minutes have confirmed, and you can see market continue to correct. So we are seeing the technology stocks continue to correct a lot more, but the value play is still in the scene that we see in the US market, that we see in US Dow Jones continue to move slightly higher. They are both, in my opinion, US allowed 4 to 5% correction from the old high for the US markets, and we have to see once they start to raise interest rate or firm up that interest rate, you can see this market will continue to move higher. Now remember, interest rate rise are showing that signs of good economy for the US market in here. Now let's take a look at what kind of stocks that seems to be playing back on the economic recovery is KO. All right, so if you take a look at KO, then we switch on to Coca-Cola. All right, that is the one that many of us will be buying during our Chinese New Year because of the red symbol K. And let's wait for the very slow today. Let's KO. You can see KO since green pentagon. Right, you can see this market started to move up 56 to $60 in here. Nice one in here for the Coca-Cola, which continue to go up. So there will be a lot of stocks like this giving you an opportunity in here. So keep an eye on some of those value stocks, which I did talk about last week on Barron's, that are value lagger. That will be a chance for you to buy into those stocks. All right, let's moving on to the Singapore side. And Singapore side will be ComfortDelGro. All right, let's take a look at ComfortDelGro. The stocks that we want to look at will be ComfortDelGro. And you can see ComfortDelGro hasn't turned green pentagon yet. So despite what you read about this, there is some stocks like ComfortDelGro in here, which is reported by Business Time saying you should watch out for, but no green pentagon, no. Don't put your trade into it. And also you can see, right, this market in here are likely to test a bit lower, but I do think the green pentagon will likely to come very soon. All right, let's move on to our next trade idea that we have, revisiting the O2 trade idea that we had previously here. And one of them was Hexstar, which was on the 27th of December. So 27th December was this trade. Let me just pull this down a bit here so you can see the date. Right, 27th of December. There you go. Continue to go higher in here. A nice pullback. The market takes up in here. So nice. The last week trade, GCB. 3rd of January, and that was a stock that we talked about. Green pentagon continue to go up. Again, some of these value lagger will do well as the economic recovering right now in here. Perhaps retest back. This is a very good stocks. Check out on SMARTRobie on GCB, and you will see GCB on the stock fundamentals will give you a very good rating. Okay, GCB is not rated because the ROE is lower than the PE, which means it is not an undervalued stock. Okay, but it does give a dividend of 1.3% in here. 1.3% in here. And let's move on to these two. Okay. Now, last week we have the SMARTRobie stock pick, which is the looking at from here onwards HSL. And this week we do have another new sets of leader from the 7th of January, CoStar. All right, you probably can't see it at the bottom in here, but it is showing. Let me just sort of bring it up a bit here. All right, you can see. All right, there you go. CoStar, they are in the 40% mark since the last green pentagon. As you got HSL is already 20%, HSSB, FL Berhad, Notion VTech, SAM, which is around less than 20%, and LHI, which is less than 20%. And these are some of your recent pickup on the 15th of December. So go over to the green pentagon of each of these individual chart, and the way to access it is to go over to Pentagon. All right, Pentagon Guider, and right at the bottom of the Pentagon Guider, I can't show you now because I have some technical difficulty, would be the latest month Pentagon winner and loser right at the bottom. Hit that one, you're able to see this chart that you see here. All right. Now, the new watch list, unfortunately, due to the technical issue, you can actually set up the watch list like I did here. And what I did was to set up a watch list of all our Pentagon picks that we have, GCB, Inari, and Kosan. That will be something that you can do on your side, able to track when it turns green Pentagon and also the prices. So this is a very good feature. Check it out on the SMARTRobie here. Activate it to use this. Of course, this week we have our so-called trade idea for this week will be the 10th of January. So let me just set up this right now. And look at the stock. Okay, here, there we go. Okay, this is the stock that we have in here, looking very nice. You can see green pentagon turning in here, and also the market stages already move above the zero line in here. Okay, first of all, let me bring out the trans here on a weekly basis. So switching to a weekly chart, you can see weekly chart just turned green pentagon to weekly chart turn green pentagon. And SMARTRobie also turned green pentagon on the, what date was this? On the 6th of January. All right. Important price level. So to check out important price level, we can go over to SMARTRobie like I'm doing on my phone in front of me here. Okay, go SMARTRobie and go over to P-Trans and go over to the trading plan. Okay, trading plan in here is the breakout of the weekly resistance. So the weekly resistance is 65.55. Okay, so if the market can take out the 65.55 here, right, that's the one that we will be interested to go in. All right, the weekly resistance, which is about another 4%. If you can take out that one, that is going to be a good entry level in here, because we need the market to overtake that uptrust. Okay, important price level, take out the weekly resistance at 0.655, because if it doesn't take that one out, it's likely going to move sideways in here. Why the volume in here? Because you got a little bit of volume coming in, okay, and forming of a nice base here. Okay, what is the low support? Low support will be going to the exit strategy for P-Trans. Again, looking at my computer on my notebook, on my mobile phone here. S1 will be 0.59. S1 at 0.59, and S2, okay, at 0.585. Okay, high resistance, we are talking about 72 cents Okay, high resistance 72 cents, which is around this space, which is good. 72 cents here, 0.72 cents here. Trading period in here usually about 1 to 1.5 months in here. Okay, right. Now do take note, this is a trade, right, that forms a nice double bottom in here. So you have to look for some sort of a catalyst that will push this share a bit higher in here. Of course, for those of you who are the best, who know how to read chart, this may not be one of the best so-called pattern. As I said before in here, you want to look at some of those from what we teach in our masterclass, the pullback trade, which have a better odds of moving higher in here. This is just based on green pentagon. You may have to wait a bit more in here, but do check out the news that we have, because if it can take out the 65 cents that you see in here, this stock price will likely to go higher. Para MCA to meet with official so for okay, looks like that's not much on the news inside here. And let's save this. All right, so that will be, and then we will add Paratrans into our watch list. Okay, let me just add Pentagon list here. Go add Paratrans. Okay, there I got it in here. So I added Paratrans, which is the 6th of January. Okay, 6th of January in here. And that's the one will be in play. Okay, so that's all we have on the side. And don't forget, this coming Wednesday night will be our US stocks sector ETF. That will be the training for all our members, and for those of you who have signed up for this course, I'll see you on Wednesday night. So our regular live FB on Wednesday and Thursday will be cancelled, as we'll be continuing with our US market. Lots of opportunity, and also thank you for those of you who came last Saturday when we talk about our US stock preview in here. That's the one we're talking. So we'll continue from where we left off last week, and of course, right now, if you look into the comparison between the two markets, the popular US ETF stocks compared to a KLCI, you will definitely see a lot of opportunity on the US side in here. And that's why it's imperative that we get some of our members and public into this opportunity in here to see where is likelihood for you to improve your performance next year. Okay. Okay, and don't forget to use the voucher code HAPPY2022 and get free 100 credit in here. All right, let's take a look at the stocks that we have for you. If you have some stocks that you want me to look at, and I'm happy to go through that. And please let us know whether you're from the public or you're the top fans in here. Any stocks that you want me to look at? Okay, if there is no stocks for me to look at, I will stop today. And don't forget, today at 3 p.m. will be FCPO training for our members, where I'll trade in front of them in here. So I'll see all our members at 3 p.m. in our Zoom meeting in here for our Futures FCPO live trading session in here. With that, I'll conclude our morning breakfast show, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.